This is the Open Floor NBA podcast. We talk about the league and all the big stories going on in it. Joining me, as she does every week, from the other side of the country, as she has been for the last few weeks of me, from All the Smoke, Fox Sports 1, and of course right here on the podcast, the great Rachel Nichols. You are in Connecticut, is my understanding,
I'm in your general hood, like New England.
Old haunts in New England, yeah.
Your hood, right?
Yeah.
So it's very pretty here in the summer. I like it a lot. And also there's humidity and also there's bugs. And that's why we live in California. Just saying.
Yes. Connecticut, the camper's nirvana out there.
Yeah, beautiful.
If you choose to take the time. New England in the summertime is great. Yeah, it's awesome.
Great.
It's little different here in Las Vegas, as you acutely remember, I'm sure. 115 degrees outside. Very cool, though, inside the gym. Got to watch a few games last couple of days, and I just got to say right off the top, I am now all in on Yang Hansen. Like, all in. I am part of the Yang Gang, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to call it. Yang Gang's already been taken, I think, by Andrew Yang, the politician. But I am part of the Yang Gang. I watched him.
Yang Throng. Let's stay away
Throng.
from
there you
cultural something. I don't know.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yang Throng. There you go.
There you go.
Watched him play on Tuesday night, and I can see what gets the Blazers excited. Like, there is a real skill set in that big 7-foot frame. Like, he can pass the ball, he can shoot the three, he can do a whole bunch of different things. He's obviously needs a lot of work physically. He looked gassed in the game that I watched, and defensively, he's very much a work in progress. But the tools are there. Like, I don't want to make it's way too soon to make Jokic comparisons, but you can see the skill set there that got the Blazers excited. I'm really interested to see how he progresses over the next couple of years. I don't know if you got a chance to see him when you were out here, but it was pretty interesting to watch him play on Tuesday.
Yeah, I did. And look, everyone thought Portland was crazy when they traded up for this guy. And honestly, with the reactions of other front offices around the league, I would still say they didn't need to do it. It seems as if he would have been available where they were, but they made the trade with Memphis because they knew they wanted their guy. And it's not crazy to want him. He clearly has an interesting skill set. He has something that I think is going to be of value as we move forward in the NBA and just sort of the way guys play changes, and there's less guys who can do the playmaking and things that he can do. And it is fascinating to see a player now who has so clearly modeled himself after Nikola Jokic, right? We saw Kobe Bryant, who modeled himself after MJ to the point of like the same shoulder would dip in the same way. I mean, Kobe was relentless about being a carbon copy and would talk about it all the time because to him, Michael was the greatest and he wanted to be that good or even better. We have seen Luka Doncic, who openly acknowledges that he modeled himself after LeBron James. We have seen 100 players who say that they modeled themselves after Steph Curry and with the long range threes and all of the stuff. This is sort of an interesting new wave of led by him, but you see some other places around the league, guys who want to be Nikola Jokic. And I think that that's kind of fascinating to see what else that brings in the future. I don't know if he does horse chariot racing in his free time, but maybe he could pick it up. Portland's got a lot to do there.
Well, he's got a lot of personality. He made 1 3 on Tuesday and did the John Cena, you can't see me. Yeah, he's doing that. And his interviews with the media are pretty funny. There's some good interactions that he's had so far. He's definitely going to bring a fan base with him to Portland. Like, you look in the stands, this is the back end of Summer League that we're on right now. And there's still dozens of Chinese fans in the Cox Pavilion stands to watch him play. A bunch of Chinese media still there. I think that's why he's still playing. I think the Blazers felt obligated to continue to roll him out there, because there was so many people and so much media that came to watch him at Summer League. He's not going to be an impact player next year, but I think he's got the potential to be an impact player.
And by the way, don't underestimate any of that. I think that teams draft the best player they think will fit into their system, the best player available, the best player on their board. But it is a nice extra that he has this great personality. It is a nice extra that he will bring with him an entirely new fan base that, by the way, if you need to get to the United States from China, you generally fly west. You generally fly toward the Oregon coast or toward California, and I guess east for them. And the idea that they are reachable for fans there, the idea that the jersey sales will be enormous for them there, it's a nice bonus. Everyone I know who's been in Japan recently comes back and said, you would not believe the amount of Dodgers hats, Dodgers shirts, Dodgers jerseys because of course, Shohei Ohtani. And we saw an echo effect with, of course, Yao Ming back in the day, and even people who play with Yao Ming. Tracy McGrady, when I worked with him, used to tell me how he would fly to China years after he retired just because people would pay him so much to show up and do a meet and greet for an hour. So the echo effect around the team and the franchise, again, not why they drafted him, obviously, but it's a nice bonus for a team that I think in this future market, more teams will sort of take just a little bit into account.
Yeah, and on the subject of the draft slot, the Blazers, they were convinced that someone was going to take him before they could get to him. Like, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but they were convinced that someone was going to jump up. And yeah. I mean, Brooklyn, I think, is the obvious team that would have taken a flyer on him with 5 first-round picks. And the Blazers wanted to get their man, and they got him. And I'm watching him make kind of touch passes during these games. I'm watching him shoot threes. If he can get that defensive side. One thing I like about him is that he's got that big base, right? Like, he's not skinny, doesn't have stick legs. Like, he's got that Yao Ming type of base. The upper body is weak, but that's the easy stuff to work on. He got plenty of time to work on that. If he can get his body right and become a serviceable defensive player, I think he's got a shot. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch him over the course of the next few seasons in Portland. All right, so the talk of Vegas this week continues to be the future of LeBron James, who showed up for a couple of the Bronny James games during the Lakers Summer League. Sat courtside, everything normal. But around him, there still seems to be a lot of questions about what LeBron wants and if he's going to be on the Lakers to start the season. His agent, Rich Paul, made an appearance during the week on SiriusXM NBA radio, talking to our friend Frank Isola. Here's a little bit of what he had to say.
There's so many voices in today's game and around today's game and media and things like that, and everyone has a job to do. For us, hey, let those people do their job. It's not for us to rebuttal or to try to give clarity on what's said, what's not said. That's not the focus. Focus is, hey, man, enjoy your summer. You can't dispel everything someone has to say.
Yeah.
And you've been around this thing a long time. There's never been an expectation on anyone like it's been on him. But my thing is just continue to find your joy.
So, Rachel, my takeaway from listening to Rich's comments is that there continues to be some ambiguity. Like, the door continues to be left open. Like, all Rich would really have to do.
I disagree more.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, to me, I felt all Rich really had to do in an interview like that is be like, he's going to be on the Lakers. He opted in. He's going to win a championship. He's going to help the Lakers win. Then we'll see what happens the year after that. Like, there just seems to be, the whole kind of enjoy your summer stuff, and you can't control what people are saying around you. Like, that just, to me, just keeps open the possibility that we could see LeBron in a different uniform come October. How did you read into those comments? Obviously different than I did.
I think Rich Paul's job is to keep that possibility open, and that is a different job or a different thing than whether LeBron James will be on the Lakers when the season starts or even through the season. Those are two different things. An agent's job is to create leverage and to also make his client happy. And here's what I know about LeBron James after covering him for, I think, 24 years now, since his senior year of high school. He is one of the smartest players in the league or in professional sports. He understands that the LA Lakers are now building on a long-term timeline around Luka Doncic. Doesn't mean that Luka Doncic doesn't also want to win a title very soon, and certainly sooner than the Dallas Mavericks. But he knows the Lakers are not going to mortgage the entire future farm for this next season that could be LeBron James' last season and then throw away the next few years of Luka Doncic's future. They're not going to do that, right? So if LeBron had decided, you know what? I actually want to win, and I don't want to be part of that. And I'm willing to pick up my family, pick up myself, leave, and go to a new market. You know what he would have done? He would have not opted in on his final year of his contract to the Lakers. He could have left LA cleanly, smoothly, without damaging the Lakers organization, given them a whole surprise bunch of money, and certainly even told them that going into the summer. He would have been able to pick which team he went to. He would have been able to sign with them in a way that would not undercut their core by requiring a trade that would then make them not worthy of being a future title contender in the first place, right? Undercutting what he would supposedly be leaving to do. And by the way, all this Cleveland talk, Cleveland is a franchise where even if they got under the second apron, they'd have to make a bunch of speculative trades, destroying part of their team, just in case LeBron would agree to a trade and they could work it out. And if that trade was agreed to, because of LeBron's salary, that team would be gutted enough that they would no longer be the title contender that he was supposedly leaving the Lakers for. He knows how to do this. We have seen it. When he wants to make a change, he much more quietly makes a change. When he finally wanted to leave Cleveland the second time, there was not a bunch of social media posts. LeBron James did not show up at Drew League games or at LA Fitness. He did not, oh, by the way, I'm wearing a Dodgers hat. I just like the Dodgers. None of that. He had his free agency meeting with Magic, and then he put out a very classy press release. You know when we have seen this kind of behavior before? Every single other time that LeBron James wants the team that he is on and wants to stay with to do things to make his time there better. And by the way, most people do that at their place of employ. That's not some crazy thing. He just does it in public, right? Most people want their jobs to be as tailored to them as possible and to be able to succeed in their goals as much as possible. His way of doing that has come under a lot of criticism over the years. We saw it during his first Cleveland tenure. We saw it during his Miami tenure. We saw it in his second Cleveland tenure until he wanted to leave. We did not see it when he wanted to leave. To me, this is exactly the LeBron playbook, not of someone who wants to get traded, and not of someone who is so smart and knows how to make the right decisions to put himself in the position to win. This is the playbook of LeBron James when he wants to get the team he plays for to do more for him. It just feels so textbook to me. It's a bit strange that we keep having this conversation.
There's an argument to be made that LeBron's right. The Lakers are clearly prioritizing future financial flexibility so that they can be in a position to add the next star to the roster whenever it is that LeBron James either retires or leaves the Lakers. But take the name LeBron off the jersey. If you're a team that has two All-NBA players, surefire All-NBA players, a third guy in Austin Reeves, who's a borderline All-Star, a fourth guy in DeAndre Ayton, who's the former number one overall pick, who's capable of giving you a double-double every single night. Don't you consider yourself a title contender? Like, shouldn't you be doing everything that you can to win a title in the immediate future and not be worried about the long term? Like, I think that to me, that's what LeBron wants this team to do, to not put so much emphasis on protecting the cap flexibility in 2026 and maybe more notably in 2027. And I think there's argument to that. Like, Luka Doncic just strapped a team onto his back and helped lead them into an NBA Finals. LeBron James is going to be 41 years old in December, but is not playing like any 41-year-old has ever played any sport ever. Like, he is still all NBA level, both ends of the floor when he wants to be, still a great player. The Lakers have room for organic growth on their roster. I think Austin Reeves, who I mentioned, if he's still there, is going to take another step this year. I think he's going to get even better this season. I think there's a reasonable case to be made that the Lakers should not be looking at the long view of this because, like, there's no guarantee they're going to be able to go out and get that next star to play next to Luka while Luka is still in his prime. So I actually tend to agree with LeBron and the position that they're taking. Like, this is a team that's built to win, and or at least it should be built to win. And adding to it now while not worrying about the consequences later, to me, that's the approach they should take.
Well, the franchise has to worry about Luka re-signing there. They don't really have to worry about LeBron re-signing there. I'm sure if he would like to play one more year beyond this year and they can work out a deal that it makes financial sense, he will be welcome. The Lakers are known for holding on to their stars and doing things for them, even if it's not in the absolute best interest of the team. However, it is much more important to Lakers fans, to the future of the franchise, that Luka Doncic re-signs there. So the moves that they make, even though LeBron wants this and LeBron wants that, and by the way, LeBron may be very reasonable in wanting those things. Again, it's kind of like the top of this conversation. Rich Paul's job is not necessarily the same thing as telling all of us what LeBron is really thinking. Those are two different roles. And the Lakers' job right now is, yes, fielding a competitive team, because by the way, that's what will keep Luka also. But in terms of whose timeline they're on, who they want to make sure feels like there is a future with their team, it is Luka Doncic. And I'm kind of curious because in a way, you're kind of making the point that the team is in pretty good shape and that LeBron should see them the way you see them as actually viable for a title if someone can get on, if they can get on a run. What do you think if they were going to go all out, mortgage at the farm, do the thing? What could they do differently right now? Because DeAndre Ayton was definitely the best available at the position that they most needed to fill this summer, in my opinion.
I think if I was the Lakers, I would be looking at what they could potentially get for Austin Reeves. Not because Austin Reeves is a lesser player, but, and we've discussed this on previous shows, there is some overlap in what Austin Reeves does and what Luka Doncic does. So if you get another team out there, and I don't know who it would be at this point, but there is a market for Austin Reeves.
I want you to speak in reality, though.
But there's a market. There's a market for Austin Reeves. Like there's a lot of teams.
There's a market for us. Of course, there's a market for Austin Reeves. Other teams would like Austin Reeves. Let's say you were going to trade Austin Reeves. You're going to attach a first-round pick, maybe more, whatever we have. You were going to literally give away everything, mortgage your entire future, so LeBron James could have the best chance of winning the title this year. Which, by the way, would be nice for Luka Doncic too. But that is your goal. Who would you get back, given that you could spend all, I'm giving you your wallets open, spend all the assets the Lakers have? Who would you realistically be able to get back for Austin Reeves and picks or whatever else you think you have that would make the salaries match up well enough to stay within the confines of this new CBA and would make your team better than Austin Reeves makes it right now? Who is available? Who a team would trade?
Top of my head, I might look at a team like New York and who has Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, 3-and-D types of guys. The Knicks, under Mike Brown, looking to become more diverse offensively. Maybe they'd be interested in something like that. I'd look at Toronto and some of the guys that they have there. It's not easy, but like the 3-and-D guys, that's something that I think makes more sense for the Lakers with Luka and LeBron than Austin Reeves necessarily does. Again, if they keep Austin Reeves, he's bound to have a fantastic season. I think he's going to have a better season than he had last year. I just think you can live without his skill set with Luka playing, 35 minutes per game. Yeah.
Yes. And by the way, I don't disagree with you. That is the way that you would upgrade. Those teams have to be willing to give up those guys. And it is an eternal balance for any team. What are you giving up for now? What are your chances of winning now versus sinking your future of your team for, and we're not talking about in 2032, right? 2026 is 6 months from now. I mean, you're talking about next season. You're talking about handicapping yourself in the near future. And it doesn't shock me that while the Lakers are interested in making their team better and already have, and by the way, it's possible that we get a trade for one of those 3-and-D guys for Austin Reeves before the trade deadline. That's still open, depending on how the Lakers season is going. I think it's possible the Lakers front office now wants to take a look at sort of how this group is going to be together before they start giving away things and trading Austin and doing whatever. Teams that think they have a shot will know by February that they don't have a shot. You and I see this every year. So I don't think the door is closed to making this better. And I don't think LeBron is crazy for wanting them to do more now and wanting them to do more in general and wanting to put pressure on them. I think all of the parties are doing what they should be doing. The method that LeBron puts that pressure on sometimes rubs some fans the wrong way, but you got to recognize that's what he's doing. He is not trying to get himself somewhere else in the next 2 months. And look, if I'm wrong about this, I will come right here to you and me. I will say I was wrong. But I do not believe it because there was a way to get this done 3 weeks ago, where he could have done it cleanly, where he actually had the best chance to win somewhere else. By definition, if he goes somewhere else now, wherever he is traded, the makeup of the team that he is attracted to will not be as good by virtue of the fact that they've got to trade parts away for him. And they wouldn't have to do that 3 weeks ago. And he's too smart not to take that into account. And so therefore, I just don't see it that he's looking to go somewhere else. I see it that he is looking to make this team the best it can possibly be, to push the Lakers into making as many moves as they can before February to give them the best chance that they have in April, May, and June. And all of that's a little bit still to unfold. We've seen this movie before. And, still entertaining. I like rewatching old movies.
So
that's what it is.
Let's just get into the trade stuff for a second. Like, let's say we get to mid to late August and the Lakers have done nothing and the dust has settled and all the moves have been made and teams are standing pat, at least until training camp, first part of the season, trade deadline.
Yep.
When I talk to people in Vegas, no one is ruling out the possibility of a trade. Some people believe it's still very possible that it could happen. There are teams that could put it together. The Mavericks could potentially put it together. The Knicks could potentially put it together. People keep telling me to keep an eye on the Clippers. We're going to get into them in a minute about putting together a deal for LeBron. Do you think that's a possibility still? I mean, everything that we've heard up until this point, do you think that a deal is there's still a percentage chance of it before the start of the season?
Look, I'm happy to come on here and tell you I'm wrong if I am wrong. And I absolutely believe you are talking to smart basketball people. And I right now am talking to you. I'm talking to a smart basketball person. And you believe there is a chance. So this is a difference of opinion. We will have to see how it plays out. The Mavericks do not want him. They have messaged that out through multiple reporters. So I think that door is closed. The New York Knicks door, the Karl Anthony Towns trade that people keep talking to, I don't think the Lakers would see how that would make them better. And I don't think that they are going to go backward to make a LeBron trade. I don't see them wanting to do that. I don't see them wanting to buy him out so he can go do something else and be somewhere else and potentially beat them. So I think we also have to keep in mind in terms of feasible trades, what is good for LA. The Clippers is an interesting possibility, right? I mean, it would certainly be a Clippers move to want to get one over in terms of bringing the Lakers' biggest star, and he is still their biggest star, over to the Clippers side. You tell me what the Lakers would want for LeBron that you think the Clippers would be willing to give up before they even see how this Bradley Beal version of James Harden and Kawhi Leonard and everybody else and Zubac and everyone else we're about to discuss works. Do you see them doing that before November?
Not unless they're willing to flip Kawhi, which I don't see.
Do you think the Lakers would take Kawhi?
No, I mean,
on that salary with that injury history? Again, let's talk about what's realistic.
And look, to be fair, like when I talk to people about the Knicks I don't think have interest in LeBron. I think the Knicks are the Knicks are pretty happy with what they did this offseason. They're happy with what they got from Mike Brown. Mike Brown's been a big hit in Vegas around Knicks.
As he
people.
should be.
Like, big hit. They love the Jordan Clarkson edition. They love the Gershon Yabusele edition. They think they've got a rotation that's 9 or 10 deep right now. Like, they're not looking to shake that up. Not in a conference that they think they can win with this group. So you're right. The options are limited. And look, I'm just there's just some people that keep telling me it's still possible. And the Clippers get brought up a lot with this stuff. And I don't know what makes sense with the Clippers. I don't know what makes sense with the Lakers. Like, to bring it full circle, like, they have been saying, we don't want extra salary. LeBron is an expiring contract. We want the flexibility. We know in today's NBA with aprons and all these penalties, the flexibility really matters. So,
but even if they were willing to give that flexibility up, even if that wasn't their biggest concern, right? And you're saying it shouldn't be their biggest concern because right now they've got two great players and they have the potential to continue to build around them. So let's say even the flexibility issue, if they were willing to change course and say, we're willing to give more up now, we're not going to completely sink the future of this team because we need to re-sign Luka and nobody would blame them for that decision, but we are willing to do more to make sure that we are giving ourselves the best chance we can to win now. Even if you change that mindset, which I'm not sure the Lakers are going to change, I still, when you go through all the possibilities, I don't see where both teams would be interested that you have a feasible trade. And also, work into the fact that LeBron is of an age where he is settled in a certain place. He has 2 houses in Los Angeles. People talk about his businesses there. That he can do from anywhere. He can be a big, huge star from anywhere. But his family likes Los Angeles. Savannah likes Los Angeles. Zuri likes Los Angeles. The boys like coming home to Los Angeles. I just think there is a lot involved in him leaving. And if he was going to do it, if he was going to do all the things, we would have known 3 weeks ago, the Lakers would have known months ago that he wasn't going to pick up his option, and he could have done it cleanly, gracefully, in a way that certainly, would be, I don't know what's going to be palatable to the fan base, but more palatable than sort of forcing the Lakers into a trade. And he could have gone to a team where he wasn't decimating them just to get there. So he actually had a better chance of winning. If that's what this is all about, there was a cleaner option to do this months ago where he had full control. And he decided instead to go the re-sign. I want my money. I want to stay in LA. I'm going to nudge everyone on social media. That is the route he decided to take. That is what we are seeing now. And we have seen it over and over and over. And we'll have to see where the nudging kind of comes into play with the Lakers and what their decision making is. And maybe the nudging will work a little. We've seen it work in the past with others of his teams. And maybe that'll be best for the Lakers in the long term, that they kind of meet in the middle a little bit. But I expect LeBron James to be playing in LA for the first part of the season at the very least. And frankly, I expect him to be playing in LA until he retires. And I mean, accepting maybe a one-day deal with the Cavs to retire if he decides to go that way. But that is my expectation. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
All right, so I'm sure we'll be talking about this a lot more this offseason. There's always going to be another shoe to drop with LeBron James in the offseason. Let's talk about the Clippers, though, who made another move this week, adding Bradley Beal, who was bought out by the Phoenix Suns, another astronomical buyout. You got Damian Lillard and his $100+ million. Bradley Beal, I think, giving back like $90-ish million, just a ridiculous number of buyout money. But it frees Bradley Beal up. It gets Phoenix under the luxury tax, and Bradley Beal immediately went out and signed a 2-year deal with the LA Clippers, second year of player option. So now he slides into that slot that was vacated by Norman Powell. And I got to tell you, I love everything that the Clippers have done this offseason. I think that John Collins makes a lot of sense in that front court. He can play two positions. He's a lob threat. He's a shot blocker. He takes a lot of pressure off Kawhi Leonard at bigger positions, having to play bigger front court slots. And look, Bradley Beal's got his defensive deficiencies, but if you put the numbers side by side with Norman Powell, they're pretty damn comparable. Norman Powell had a career year last year, averaged 20-something points, 41% from three. Bradley Beal had a down year by his standards and still averaged 17, shot 38% from three. So
without getting nearly as much playing time as usual.
Yeah, you're basically getting Bradley Beal and John Collins for Norman Powell. I think that's a win for the Clippers. I think the only question is going to be, well, there's two questions. One, is Bradley Beal a starter with that team? And what the hell does a Beal, James Harden backcourt look like defensively? That does not strike me as a couple of stoppers there on the defensive end. And also Bradley Beal, he willingly went to the Clippers, so he knows what he's signing up for. But he chafed at being kind of a role guy with the Phoenix Suns. Is he more accepting of being a role guy now that he's no longer max contract Bradley Beal? But overall, I love this move the last couple of weeks for the Clippers. What did you think of all this?
I love it. I love it for the Clippers. I think it's a great way to move the franchise forward. They are a win now team because of the age of their key players, and I think this helps them win now. I'm not saying that they're a favorite to win, but I do think that this puts them closer to the upper echelons of the teams that we'll be talking about this coming season. And I love it for Brad. I've known Bradley Beal for a very long time. I'm from Washington. He, of course, had a long history there. He's still a very good player. And the problem is, even though he's still a very good player and a good team guy, he is not good enough to justify the outrageous salary and the no trade clause that came along with him. So through the lens of that salary and through the lens of that no trade clause, everybody who talked about him was right. He wasn't worth it. That does not mean he's not worth adding to your team and being a real asset. I think he's going to love being in LA. I think the Clippers are going to love having him on their team. He is a pro. He is great in the locker room. And in terms of the starting or not starting, look, obviously, I'm sure they had that conversation. So whatever they talked about, clearly he's comfortable with it. The way the reporting has been from Shams is that he first had these conversations with various teams, which the Suns gave him permission to do. And when he found a team and a deal he liked, that's when they went to the Suns and said, okay, we'll agree to a buyout. So clearly he knew what he wanted. The Clippers knew what they wanted. They had already made some sort of agreement as is permitted. And then he did the buyout with the Suns. So he knows what the score is. What I know about Ty Lue, because I've watched him do this in various places, and the best example I can give you is in Cleveland when Dwayne Wade came there. It was after the Chicago stint. It was pretty clear that Dwayne was at a point in his career where he was probably going to be better coming off the bench or as a role player, considering the other options that they had to start on that Cavaliers team. But obviously, Dwayne Wade did not see himself as a bench player or a role player. So Ty Lue, who is a player's coach, in addition to being one of the best X and O coaches in the league, started him at the beginning of that season and basically let him play and see what the mistake was about having him out there then. Let him see that he wasn't getting not only the results that he wanted, but he was getting, I don't want to say embarrassed, but he was, younger, better guys were making moves on him that he was not used to them making. So I wouldn't be shocked if Ty starts Bradley Beal at the beginning of the season, and maybe it'll work, right? Maybe it'll be great, and the defensive deficiencies will be made up by other players on that team. Or maybe they will become a turnstile for opposing scorers, and he will have to platoon him and Harden, and, maybe they both start, and after 4 minutes, they're platooned for the rest of the game. I mean, Ty is and his management of Russell Westbrook when he was there was a great example of it's not really who you start, it's who you finish with. And he is really great at knowing who to finish with and then managing the egos to make sure that that works for everyone. I just think that this situation couldn't be a better fit between player, team, coach, and goals for the people who are fans of that organization. I think it's a brilliant move. And, I think very highly of the Clippers front office. And this is another reason why it was multi-steps to get here, and they pulled all of them off.
Yeah, smart move. I think Norman Powell is probably a more well-rounded player in terms of what he can bring defensively. But, you're getting Bradley Beal basically for nothing. And you're getting John Collins in that front court, which is a huge, huge addition for them. I'm curious to see how the starting bench stuff works out. You're probably better served if you're the Clippers by having a more defensive-minded guy opposite James Harden, having Bradley Beal come off the bench. They can certainly play stretches together against certain teams, but that's something that the coaching staff can work out during the course of the season. Overall, that's just a home run type of offseason, I thought, for the Clippers. It did make me think about like Bradley Beal and there's obvious appeals to being in LA. It's great. He wants to play in a great location, right? Like he wanted to go to Miami before, and he accepted the deal to Phoenix, and now he's signing with the Clippers. In terms of basketball fits, though, like Milwaukee intrigued me. Like Milwaukee's so desperate for backcourt help, and they've got one of the best players in the game in Giannis. They just get Miles Turner. They bring Cole Anthony in to be their starting point guard. Bradley Beal could have done that Chris Middleton thing on that team and been a pretty good fit there, maybe a difference maker for them in the Eastern Conference. But, he wanted to go where he wanted to go, gets his money, and the Clippers get a guy that works out for him. I like the deal for the Clippers, like the offseason for the Clippers. Last thing for you. I was at the Board of Governors press conference on Tuesday, listening to Adam Silver. Just, I'm a boxing guy, and he was slipping those expansion punches left and right, Rachel. Like he was slipping and dodging. He had 2 Seattle area reporters there just kind of hammering him with details on expansion. And he didn't really offer much. And that was my big takeaway from Adam Silver's availability, that even though he announced this investigative committee, like I don't know what the hell this is, like just they're going to do an in-depth study, like they haven't been doing it already. Like, come on. Like they're going to really dig in now. It's day one of the expansion conversation. My takeaway was that expansion's really far away. It's really far away for the NBA. And am I as convinced as I used to be that, before the end of this decade, we're going to get a 31st and 32nd team? No, I'm not. Am I as convinced as I used to be that Seattle is definitely going to get a team? No, I'm not. Like Adam's a very, very smart guy, and he says everything he says is for a reason. And, there was very purposeful language in what he said at his press conference about kind of like just everybody pump the brakes here. Like, we're going to start talking about expansion, but we haven't decided on expansion. We have to look at the economics. We have to look at the potential owners. We have to look at the dilution of talent. All realistic things that you should look into. But I was of the opinion 6 months ago that, all the rhetoric aside, you were going to bring a team to Vegas. There's 3 major league sports here already, or 2 and a third coming. And you're going to go back to Seattle because Seattle's proven it can succeed with the WNBA, and you kind of owe them one. You have a
rabid fan base there ready to make. I mean, look at the Kraken, right? I mean, it instantly became one of the best-selling merchandise teams in the NHL, et cetera, et cetera.
Instant success. Bring the Sonics name back. I think the Thunder already said they're willing to do that.
Of course.
But like, what do you think now? Like, where are you on expansion? Because it is to me an inevitability, but it's not to me now. It's not an inevitability before the end of the decade, which I absolutely would have bet on, a year ago of this time. Where do you stand on that?
I think if you looked between the lines, as you said, Adam says nothing that isn't on purpose. It's some of the things he said. You can see the nuggets of why they have pumped the brakes on this a little bit, certainly from what the collective expectation was. Remember in 2020, he said expansion was that was the NBA's manifest destiny. He's not saying that anymore. And I think there were a few things he mentioned that caught my ear. One of them was about the dissolution of talent. And I think in a league that as much as they will, raise their hands and say, look at how much we rated here, they have faced falling TV ratings in the regular season. They're definitely worse than they used to be. And they're pretty much trending in one direction. So do you want to dilute your talent pool and have less of the big name stars that you do have in as many markets, as a high percentage of markets as you do now? Because you won't. And you'll have more teams that don't have anyone that they want to root for in particular. And that can be a real problem. I also think, and this came out of a conversation I had with Mark Cuban when I was in Las Vegas, he said, the TV money now is so big for this contract. They are getting so much money that they have to decide if they want to share it. And yes, the expansion fee that a potential new owner would pay in is enormous. And is he going to be even more enormous after the Celtics and Lakers sale? But is it going to be enormous enough to make up for the money that will be going out to these teams if you expand and you are now sharing not among 30 teams, but among 32 teams? And that is a real thing for these billionaires who are not billionaires by accident. So I think those two realities, that the TV contract, 6 months ago, that TV contract wasn't done, that the TV contract has been finalized for the amount of money that it has been across all the platforms they're going to be on next season. And that is a reality now for them, how much they would be giving up over the future years and ad infinitum to the future, right? Because you assume once they're there, they're there. You're not contracting. So into perpetuity, how much money are you giving up by now splitting the pie 32 ways instead of 30? And is there an expansion price high enough to make up for that, given how much the TV money is? And then also, given that they want more TV money in the future, if the ratings crash out because you don't have enough talent and enough markets to go around, that's going to be a problem too. And so I don't think expansion is definitely a no, but I think those are some of the reasons for why we're seeing it pump the brakes a little bit. And I feel bad for people in Seattle in particular, people in Las Vegas. We love you, but you've gotten a bunch of new teams lately. Seattle's been waiting a very long time. I am a bring back the Sonics fan for sure. And I think they got, it's wonderful that we have a team in Oklahoma City that's so successful, and that's proven to be a tremendous market for that team. But also there should be a team in Seattle. And you look at some of the teams that were rumored to move there over past years, and maybe in the end, that's what will end up happening, is instead of a new team in Seattle, we'll get a team decide to move there. We haven't had a franchise move in a long time. And as we know, in every professional sport, it does happen.
And, Adam was asked about Portland and their sale coming up. And he said that it's, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said they wanted the team to stay in Portland. But he didn't say it was, and I guess he can't really say that it's a requirement that the team stays in Portland. But he did note that the team needs a new arena. Like, the Moda Center is an old building. It's not great. They need, whoever buys the team is going to have a new arena plan for Portland or somewhere else. Could we see Portland ultimately move? I don't want to put that into the water supply. Nobody's even suggesting that yet because they're still very early in that process. But, maybe.
We all know there's franchises that are not doing well at the
game,
are, right?
New Orleans is up there.
I love New Orleans. It's my favorite city in the world. But I got to tell you, you walk into that building, it is largely empty.
That's
for
awful.
much
And it's
of
a
the
bad
season.
building too. It's not a good building. It's another
Terrible
building needs
building.
to.
And by the way, that city is not in a position to contribute to buying a new building. And that is an ownership group and an ownership that is sort of part of the old guard of owners who are not the sort of techno billionaire hedge fund. And so I don't think they're suddenly erecting a new building on their own. So that could be a factor. Again, I'm not trying to take a team away from any of these cities. Memphis that, has had some of its own gate problems, but the reality is the reality. And it is possible, because we have seen it in every sport over and over again, that we could get a team moving before we get an expansion. And if that happens, I hope that it's Seattle, because I think
it's interesting you say that, because it did make me wonder, as I was processing this press conference and I asked a question about, like, because he speaks very vaguely sometimes. He speaks a lot. And he speaks very vaguely, though, sometimes. So the question I asked him was, what was the temperature of the owners about expansion right now? And what is the number one obstacle? And he kind of evaded both. He said their temperature was curious, which is, I was not.
Is that
really
on the scale?
That was not on the scale.
You're in Las Vegas. It's 113. Is curious
not.
Below 113 or above?
I thought he was going to go with like lukewarm or something like that. I don't know. But he went with curious. So it didn't really answer necessarily the question. But it is an interesting idea to ponder whether, these owners are looking at some of these struggling markets that don't draw particularly well, markets that don't have new arenas, and wondering if they are candidates. I do think that all the owners want to see teams in Seattle and in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. It's just how those teams get there, I think, may be an open question at this point. Maybe expansion is not the solution. Maybe their eyeballs did bulge when they saw 11 years, $76 billion on the TV deal, while they're already struggling with local TV deals as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something I think that's worth watching, I think, in the year to come. Like, does Portland get sold? Does a new owner say, I'm going to build a new building? Does New Orleans continue to struggle at the gate? Does it start to get momentum, or some questions about whether they'll stay? Yeah, it could get interesting. All I know is that, like, I went into that Adam Silver presser thinking, like, all right, there's going to be momentum here. They're going to say, like, we're ready to take bids. I was waiting for the B word, Rachel, the bids word, to come in to Adam Silver. I didn't get that. In fact, I got the exact opposite. When he said we're at day one, that told me they're a long way off.
Can we cross our summer league rumors? And by the way, this is the time of year for all of that, because all of us in the NBA stratosphere are bored and want exciting things to happen. Can we get a LeBron will demand to be traded to Seattle rumor going, even though they don't even have a team yet? I don't know.
I think he's more likely to demand Vegas. And then he's going to say, I'm now owner of this team. I now own this team. Oh, you got to love it. Rachel, always appreciate it. We will reconvene. I'm not sure when we're going to reconvene again. We'll keep the door open in case something big happens.
I'm here for you, Chris.
But it's shut down time here, though. It's when I get out of Vegas, it's closed the laptop. It's put things down for a couple of weeks.
New things to podcast about. We could, podcast about, I don't know, some breed of lizard. I don't know. We could.
I'm going up to Maine in about a week and a half, so we can compare notes on New England smells. Basically, New England smells.
What was the Saturday Night Live sketch that was like from, I don't know, now we're going to date ourselves, but from 15 years ago maybe, where the two women who like were in like New England radio, public radio.
Oh, yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
We could do that too. It's great.
Or we can just do nothing and reconvene when, there's actual basketball that we talked about. But Rachel,
I'll miss you.
Always appreciate your time and always appreciate you joining the show.
See you soon.